Can you imagine achieving the incredible feat of winning the PFA Player of the Year, the UEFA Men's Player of the Year, clinching the UEFA Champions League at Super Cup for your club, all while delivering man of the match performances in the finals? Sounds like an absolute dream, right? Well, it happened to none other than Virgil van Dijk. But here's the shocking twist: despite all these remarkable accomplishments, he was still denied the Ballon d'Or in 2019. In today's video, we're diving deep into the intriguing story of how Virgil van Dijk was arguably robbed of one of football's most prestigious honours. So sit back, relax and join us as we uncover the controversial football tale. First though, can you name the only Liverpool player to ever win the Ballon d'Or? Here's the hint: he's the only English player to win the award in the 21st century. And it's not Steven Gerrard. Sorry, let's see if you get this. Continue watching the video and find out the answer. Back to Van Dijk. The Dutch international arrived at Liverpool in January 2018 from Southampton with a record fee tag for a defender on his back. And many questioned the signing. The transfer fee raised a lot of eyebrows, but few could have predicted the season he would have in his first full season with the Reds. Now, since Luis Suarez played for Liverpool, did one signing transform the club so much? And not even the Uruguayan could lead the Reds to the height that Van Dijk did. So what exactly do we think he deserved the Ballon d'Or that year? How good was he actually? For starters, you don't win the PFA Player of the Year, the UEFA Men's Player of the Year and both the UEFA Champions League and Super Cup, and also get into the Premier League and UEFA team of the season if you're not good. Scratch that, exceptional. Van Dijk was the foundation which Liverpool's success was built that year. He was a different gravy, awe-inspiring if you're on his side, you're fear-inducing if you're an opponent. Winning the Champions League has somehow become an official category in deciding which player wins the Ballon d'Or. Ideally, it should not be the case, but prior to the 2019 awards, 9 out of the previous 12 winners have been winners of the Champions League that particular season, and Van Dijk did exactly that, with assured performances all the way, although not the accurate criteria to judge the best player. You can understand why it exists. Winning Europe's top club award means your team is the best in Europe that season, and as such the best player in the team will be the best in the world. During the tournament, Van Dijk pocketed some of the best attackers, including Robert Lewandowski, Harry Kane and deadly Napoli attack. Even the great Lionel Messi was not at his best at Anfield, and Van Dijk had a lot to do with that. Against Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League final, for instance, Van Dijk gave a man of the match performance against the Spurs front line that included Kane, Son Heung-min, Dele Alli and Christian Eriksen. This is the same team that had come from 2 goals down to win 3-2 against Ajax in the semis second leg, and Van Dijk single-handedly kept them at bay for the entire match without putting a foot wrong. We can't forget how he outran Son and won the ball from him with relative ease in the memorable final. A perfect example of how good he was that season. Any other defender in that position against the agile Son, and the scoreline would have changed in favour of the Spurs. For Van Dijk though, it seemed an easy task. As for the trophies, the Dutchman's outstanding performance ensured he won ones that mattered the most. Overall, he was the catalyst for Liverpool's success that season, the standard bearer, making others accountable, he demanded, and he provided performances, potential, mentality, results, all were improved by his mere presence at the back. You know you are doing something good when the legendary Franz Beckenbauer, who is one of the only 2 defenders to ever win the Ballon d'Or, drools over you. The former German international is a big fan of the Dutchman. With his way and style of football playing, Virgil van Dijk really impresses me. I started to notice him at Liverpool and in the Dutch national team. He has this power and ability in him that are quite impressive. He shows it on all levels. I don't see any weaknesses from him. Every successful team for sure needs multiple leaders, and in their Dutch number 4, Liverpool had one of the best seasons. Throughout the campaign, Van Dijk was nothing short of outstanding. He featured 50 times across all competitions, scoring 6 goals and providing numerous world-class defensive displays. During the season, Van Dijk and Liverpool conceded the least goals across the top 5 leagues in Europe, 22, and no centre-back kept as many clean shots as him, 20, and accrued the 3rd highest total points in the Premier League history, 97. Did we mention that no player dribbled past Van Dijk in 64 consecutive matches? Insane. He dominated the Premier League's top attackers as well as Europe's elite, and when former Arsenal winger Nicolas Pepe dribbled past him, it was a cause of celebration for rival fans. That's how good the Dutchman was that year. What stood out was his ability to improve others, not just in his central defensive partners who all clearly benefited from his organisational skills and direction, but for those ahead too, whether it was setting expectation and demanding it be matched, or by providing an insurance platform to free up those in the midfield attack. His presence had a knock-on effect, and that's how Liverpool managed to play so well as a team. His influence was not only on club level, he was a key figure behind the Netherlands' resurgence and their run into the UEFA Nations League final, which they could have perhaps won against Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal had his defensive partners Matthijs de Ligt not gone AWOL. The night of 12th of December 2019 is one perhaps Van Dijk will want to forget. The world held its breath as the Ballon d'Or winner was announced, and only 2 votes stood between him and the prestigious award. Messi was pronounced the winner after amassing 686 points to Van Dijk's 679. It divided opinions. Many felt the Dutchman had been robbed, and yes, there's some truth in that. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp was not too happy that the Dutchman missed out on the award. If you give the Ballon d'Or to the best player of this generation, you should always give it to Lionel Messi. That's how it is, he said. But if you give it to the best player of last season, then it was Virgil van Dijk. I don't know exactly how it will work, but that is how I see it. The best player of all, that's Lionel. Best player of last season, that's Virgil. We will see. Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard knows a thing or two about the Ballon d'Or, having ranked 3rd in 2005 behind Lampard and the eventual winner, Ronaldinho. And he too threw his weight behind Van Dijk. I'm Messi's #1 fan for sure. I love the player. Obscene numbers in the game in terms of assists and goals. I'm definitely a Messi fan in the gang. But if you talk about consistency from one player over a year, who wins the European Cup and is absolutely faultless in every performance, that means you deserve to win the Ballon d'Or. It has been 16 years since Fabio Cannavaro won the award as a defender, and Van Dijk was the closest that has come to claim the crown since then. Even during Sergio Ramos's peak, he was not as good as Van Dijk was during the particular season. It will be tough for any defender to replicate the Dutch international season, and for the focus that he brought to the art of defending as well as the impact he had during that season. He well and truly deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. However, they needed Van Dijk to win the treble, the World Cup, and score in all finals for him to win the award. Before we forget, it was Michael Owen. That was the correct answer to our question to start the video. The Englishman is the only Liverpool player to have ever won the Ballon d'Or, a feat he achieved in 2001, beating Real Madrid legend Raúl and German keeper Oliver Kahn. The striker had just turned 21. And in our eyes, he did so having arguably far less impact compared to Van Dijk in 2019. During that particular year, Owen and Liverpool secured a unique treble, the UEFA Cup known as Europa League today, the FA Cup and the League Cup. He then followed that up with a Charity Shield win and a UEFA Super Cup success in a successful calendar year, with the trophies all coming in a space of a few months. Are you thinking what we're thinking? Despite coming agonisingly close, he was happy in defeat, admitting he lost to the best. You need to respect greatness. I was close, but there was just someone a little better, said Van Dijk. We have had controversial Ballon d'Or awards before, and this sits right up there as one of the most questionable and controversial in recent years. What do you think? Was Van Dijk robbed of the 2019 Ballon d'Or, or did Messi rightfully win? Let us know in the comment section below.